as always. All right, this is part 2 of the finale. And unlike the first one where I organized stuff, this is just going off the top of my head. But I do know what I'm talking about, so literally we could be here for hours. Hopefully this won't be as long, but hey, what the heck. All right, so looking at episodes 1 to 23, obviously I did the stance, the punch, the first form, and also the shifting. What else did we cover? We covered the footwork, a bit of the footwork, hand conditioning, and also, what else is there? Kicking, all right, screw all of that right now. Those are good enough. Remember, with the kicking, main thing, get the balance. With the footwork, work on the shifting. If you understand the shifting, the footwork just flows in right away. And with the hand conditioning, that takes, bottom line, anything you do in Wing Chun, don't hurt yourself. That's the main idea. So I'm gonna spend this segment of part 2 of the finale mainly on chesaw, actually all on chesaw, all right? And some common things to look for and what to really concentrate on. All right, so the idea of chesaw, why don't we break that down? I mean, we've talked about it, you see it, and literally, the most common thing you always hear, it's called patty cake. And you know what? When you see that, and I see that posted on the website, I get it. I mean, I do watch other Wing Chun videos because I'm bored, but I literally understand why people would say it looks like patty cake, because when I see certain Wing Chun and how they're doing the chesaw, that is patty cake, all right? So let's talk about what we're looking for, okay? We're looking for, everyone says structure. Everyone always says the same thing. If you actually look at the principles of Wing Chun, it's no different from any other martial arts, whether it's Taekwondo, karate, jiu-jitsu, they're all saying the same thing. They all say using leverage, go with the force. You want to have better body position and so forth. But let's just say, you can take a car, you can take a Kia and a Lamborghini. They go from point A to B, all right? Their goal, if I ride in the Kia, I ride in the Lamborghini, I get from point A to B, same way. But the way it's done inside is totally different, all right? So the overall goal may be the same, but just how it's done is different. And let's just say all Wing Chun's not made the same. So I want to explain exactly what we're looking at when we're doing single stick, double stick, lopsaw position, and what to really key on it. The first thing to really key on is do not be so focused on saying, man, I really need a partner. I really need a freaking partner to really get this done. You do need a partner to develop certain things. But the very first thing I want people to do is literally know the mechanics of the tan, bong, foot motion and roll by themselves. Okay, so let's say Robert just demo in front of everybody first. Tanza. All right. So hopefully I'm getting the right angle. If not, you'll get the idea of it. The main thing to look for in structure and how people use it is when you look at the Tanza motion. All right. Think of it, this is the easiest way I can break it down, is look for the prayer motion. If I pray, okay? So let's have Robert do this position first, okay? Look where his hand position is. His hands are in front of him, his body is here. A lot of times you see people have, you can relax the hands. See how his elbow is back here. Actually, can you turn around for a second? Yeah, like that, that's better. All right, if his elbow position, look how his elbow position here. Here's his body. His elbows are a bit off to the side. Now you'd be saying, okay, look, he has this triangle in front of you. What more are you bitching at? That should be good enough. But if I actually test out his structure and push it here, and I push towards that force, he has to use muscle to actually contain, to hold that structure, all right? You can't see it, it's hard, you can't see it if you have the eye and know how to look for it, but if you actually look at it, this is slightly behind his body, so he has to actually tense up the body in order to do it. Now if I bring it up forward more, okay? Now, when I actually push him here, now, look, as soon as I push him here, he can actually feel the body in use. So that's a dead hint and giveaway for actually looking for structure. All right, people are going like, well, that's really structured. Look at how that person's doing. When you see someone chisawing, and you see someone going like this, around here like this, and you see his arms flailing around like that, that's not freestyle. That's no structure. That's just arms moving around. You actually want the body to generate the power to shoot out the punch, or shoot out the technique, or shoot out the block. All right, so that's a dead giveaway right away. When you're seeing the hand motion come around, and you see someone chop like this, look at my elbow position. Okay, or you see someone punching around like this, that's a dead giveaway. That is not structure. Okay, you can call it what you want, but it's not structure. There's no body support behind it. Okay? Let's look at one hand right here. Okay? Once again, if I look at his position here. His arm is here behind his body. His body is behind his arm right here. As soon as I push, he can actually feel the pressure from his body. If I adjust it just slightly, look, it's not even that much. If I push it like this, he can feel right away. That's muscle that he has to use. There's no debating that. Okay? There's no debate. You can only debate that if you don't know what the hell you're doing. Okay? That's just the bottom line. Well, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Enough. All right? So let's understand that. That hand position actually plays an important role. So without this hand, remember, you're dealing with three structures. You're dealing with the arm, which is a triangle, the body, and the stance. Everything has to work in conjunction with one another. If one's off to the other, it won't work. Okay? So right there, we're looking at body support. The body has to be behind the hand. If I go to the bong saw position, okay, you actually have to know the position as well. All right, what's bong saw? Is it up here? Is it here or here? The idea of the bong saw is actually drilling down motion here. A lot of times what happens, people end up doing the bong saw, pushing forward. But in fact, he's going to be cutting down in this motion. Okay? So, actually face in front again. All right, so how do we know exactly what we're doing here? What we're doing is actually, his bong saw motion, he has to know exactly two things. One, he has to aim exactly at the target. That's me. I'm his target. Okay? Two, he's got to make sure the front of the shield, or the very edge of his bong, tan, or fuk, is directly in front of his center. That's key. So in this case, in this scenario, right here, he can use this as a guide mark right here. This middle part right here of his wrist, all the way running down into the center. If he holds it at this position and I push, he can hold it really strong. But if he's off a little, he moves it just a pinch here, and I push it like this, he's got to use muscle. All right? So that's why when you do the form, it's very, very freaking important that you are very detailed in it. You know exactly where the placement is. You exactly know where the position is, and so forth. You can't just be in the general area when you do it. Remember, you are trying to do this by alignment, not muscle, not speed, not more power. If you understand the alignment and how to link everything together, then you can get the force behind it, get the power behind it. Okay? And then also, futsal. Let's look at the futsal. The futsal, same thing. The general rule of thumb is look at the forearm. Forearm aimed into the center line. That's key. Okay? Don't worry so much about this hand, the hand position. You want more as far as this. If here's the target, you want this aimed into the center line. You don't want the futsal drifting off to here. And what I mean by that, you face me for a second. What I mean by that is when you're rolling, a lot of the rolling motions, sometimes you get into a rhythm. You get in a rhythm and you're not actually feeling what you're looking for. So in other words, if the guy, let's say I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know how to aim at my target. If I roll off the center like this, notice right away he follows me off the center. So that means he's basically going for a ride. You remember in chesaw, you are working with each other, but at the same time you're still controlling your own motion. So even if I'm a goof and I don't know how to aim at the center, he should still be in enough position so if I go here, he's still focusing into my target point. All right? So that's the main thing I want to emphasize there. Let's write that down so I get this organized and I'm not jumping from one idea to another. Okay. Main thing first, and there's a lot of real deep details that we can go to, is just the positioning. There's two things with the positioning that you want to do, right? A, make sure, cover self. Look at my English, it's really good. Sounds like Grimlock. Me, Grimlock. Second thing, aim at target. Okay? So that's something that you can practice on your own. How would I suggest you practice this? You could either get a mirror and put a dot or some marker that basically says that's your target and that's that center line that you're aiming for. And I could do something as simple as here's tan, bong, or fuk. Okay, let's say I just do the rolling motion, tan, bong. What's the first thing I said? Make sure you cover yourself. So that means if I have my tans out here, look from here, just think underneath my nose to the tans are covered, this is not covering my center. Okay, this is not covering my center either. I have to make sure if I'm holding the shield, I'm covering my center. All right, think of it in that sense. And the second thing is, if you're holding your shield covering yourself, you got to make sure you're aimed at the target. If the bullet's coming here, I'm covering myself, but I'm not aimed at the target, I'm still getting hit. So here, if I'm doing Tan, I'm covering myself, but I need a target point, which is him. All right, so, 1 second, pause. Seriously, there was no interruption whatsoever. All right, so hopefully that idea comes into play. Positioning, okay? I want to cover myself first. Wherever my hand triangle is, this is my shield, I want to cover myself. Now that I'm covering myself, my shield needs what? It needs a target to be aimed at. He could be firing the bullets. If I'm holding my shield here, I'm still going to get hit. Very important key practice. And then when you're practicing this, look, this concept of rolling just by yourself, this takes a while to develop. Just imagine, if you don't know this motion fully, and then you start working with someone else, I guarantee you, if this motion by itself is no good, working with your partner, it goes to hell. Automatically it goes to hell. Okay? All right. So we talked about the positioning aspect of that. Now, let's talk about, let's see. All right, we also talked about the body, right? Let me put that down, body. All right, we'll definitely go more detail into the body regarding this. Because I definitely, this is level 1. Even if I tell you deeper stuff, it might just go over your head. What I want to make sure is I create a solid foundation for you to work on, and that's the easiest thing to work on first, positioning. Okay, there's no excuse. Keep working on positioning, know exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it. Okay, and then as far as body, I told you again what we're looking for. You should feel the body support. All right, the body support, just like how you had it before. And this is one of the cases where you actually have to have someone who knows what they're doing to feel it. Because if he didn't know it at the time, if his arms are a little bit out, his arms look like this, you can't see from that angle, okay? His arms look like this, and then he's pushing it. He can fool himself into saying, that's pretty strong, right? It looks like you're holding it fairly strong, right? Right, but that's why Robert pays the big bucks. His elbows are just adjusted here, and now he can feel it right away. Okay, now maybe you can explain to that. What's the difference when you feel it? Do you feel it in your arms? Do you feel it, or is there more work? What exactly do you feel on that?
The first way...
With the arms out like this, just a pinch, just a pinch.
I definitely feel it rock back onto my heels, and then my arms get more tense, as opposed to when I have everything aligned perfectly, then I actually feel it in the stance, and the arms actually feel relaxed.
Okay, actually that's good. That's good I brought that up. So I mean, a lot of times people go, I don't know exactly what the feel is. What should it feel like? Am I using structure or am I not using structure and so forth? Well, just think of it this way. The dead giveaway if you're not doing body. Let me talk about some stuff. First one, point of contact. The point of contact basically increases more. So for example, let's say he's at bong saw, okay? And he doesn't know exactly where to do it. If I touch him at this point, right at this point, let's say this is 2 pounds. If he actually has the body behind it and I start pushing him at this point, okay, actually no, he doesn't have the body behind it. I start pushing at this point. The 2 pounds tends to do what? 2 pounds tends to go to 3 pounds, to 4 pounds, to 5 pounds. That's dead giveaway. So this point of contact, once you touch and it's not body supported, will what? Increase in pressure. Can you feel the pressure change from that? All right, so that's the first one. Point of contact, uppy, more pressure. All right, point of contact. If you feel more pressure at the point of contact, that's a dead giveaway that your body is not actually supporting it, or it's not aligned properly. The second thing. All right, the second thing. So let's talk about this. The second thing that you'll notice is, remember, what's the idea? Go with the force. Go with the force. Everyone says that. Go with the force. What does go with the force mean? When I go with the force, when this force or this point of contact touches him, it goes with the force. That means he receives that force in order to go with it first and control it, right? But if his body's not aligned, instead of this force coming in this way, what's going to happen? As soon as he feels this, he's going to end up pushing out. That's the natural reaction. Instead of accepting the force to come into the stance and so forth, Oh my God, how come you got such bad timing? Second video that done, you're interrupted.
Or do I have precise timing?
Good job, Gandalf. Come when you want, wizard. All right, what the hell was I saying? All right, so, okay, yeah, what I was saying is, if he doesn't have this right, if he doesn't have the body support, if the positioning is off, another dead giveaway is what? When I'm pushing against this, he automatically springs out. All right, he wants to push out. Instead of letting the force come into him, he actually wants to push it out. Why is he pushing out? Because the stance can't handle it. All right, okay, so what? Push out. That's another dead giveaway that you're doing it wrong. The third thing, COG, shaky. How come I don't teach English class? What does that mean? COG. COG is his center of gravity, okay? Center of gravity, that means his center of gravity, when I push against here, and if the alignment is off, once I start pushing towards him like this, yeah, the force goes into him, but look, if he's doing it wrong, look how it rocks him right away. That's his center of gravity actually being offset right away by the force. If his structure is on, and I'll put him in place right here, his structure is dead on, the force comes into him, but look, his center of gravity isn't affected by that at all, right? By adjusting his force a little bit, you can see him rock right away, and it's instant. That's the dead giveaway about it. It's instant. Let me write that down. Instant. It doesn't lie. Okay? You may lie to yourself that you're doing the structure, but the stance does not lie. Okay? What does that mean? That means he's pushing me. Okay? Like I said, the center of gravity isn't shaking. When he pushes me, yes, the force comes in, but look, my center of gravity isn't affected. If I do it off, he pushes towards me. Yeah, look how it comes in, but you see my center of gravity affected by that. I'm already screwed. That means even though I may have blocked it, he affected my center of gravity, everything's off. My timing for the next motion to attack or block is totally off. Won't work. Won't work. Only works if he sucks more. All right? And finally, instant. All right? I don't want to overdo it too much. Instant feedback. All right? Instant feedback. If I push here, and the very first thing he feels is the back of his heel, or the very first thing he feels is a shake in his center of gravity, guess what? You gotta be honest with yourself. It's wrong. It's wrong. 100% wrong. All right? Just your center of gravity, my structure, supposed to support my hands. Okay? It's supposed to be solid. But what happens? If my structure is affected, I'm dead right away. Everything I do involves more muscle. All right, so the understanding of the stance plays such an important role because it's like good reception, right? Everything, if my stance is good, everything else is good as well. If my stance is bad, guess what? More stance that's off, more muscle I have to use. Okay? All right, so that was body. Okay, let's talk about a third thing. What else? Okay, we talked about a bit about structure. Okay, let's talk about this thing about structure. Structure is based off alignment and not effing muscle. All right, what does that mean? Okay, all right, let's get this straight, okay, with forward, and this is the idea of the forward energy. Okay, forward energy, okay? Let's talk about this. All right, you always hear this. You know, you do Wing Chun and you got that forward energy and it just springs out. All right, let's understand exactly how this actually comes into play, how exactly to develop this and so forth, and what the difference is between forward energy and you being pushed down like a jack-in-the-box and popping back out, okay? First of all, I want you to look. When the structure is actually done, okay, when I'm doing the role in the structure, look how my structure is. It doesn't go in and out, in and out, in and out. All right. If you visualize doing a push-up, and I think I did one maybe about 10 years ago, but if you visualize how to do a push-up, you're going from straight, in, out like this, okay? Guess what? If you're doing that same roll motion where the structure goes in, out, in, out, in, out. That is not forward energy, okay? God, that's not forward energy. I don't know how else to cut it, all right? Try pushing. I just had to edit myself. I knew what I wanted to say, but I wasn't going to say that. All right, so what I mean by that, feel, okay, let's just say we're like this. Look how I'm pulsating in and out like this. All right, I'm going here, pulsating in and out. God, I don't know how you do this. This is 10 more push-ups than I want to do. Because if you understand the structure does give, but it doesn't give by breaking in. Okay, how can we see that? Maybe this way. If you look at my Futsal motion, okay, when he pushes towards me, okay, look at this. This is my structure actually collapsing. So in other words, if I go back in from this motion and I try to go like that, guess what? I'm trying to push that out. Once you're starting to push that out, you're doing muscle. That's muscle, all right? I don't know if I have any here. But if he pushes me in like this, all right, the only way I could push it back out is if I tense it up like this. All right, I could try to fake myself and try to say I'm using my body here, but that's just me leaning forward. Okay, the structure in itself actually runs in conjunction with the arm, the body, and the legs. And how does that basically function here? When he pushes against here, okay, first of all, this arm itself, okay, the arm structure itself has to connect to the body, okay. How does it connect to the body? The way the arm structure is based off alignment. Okay, what does that mean? Just because my arm's here doesn't mean I'm connected to my body. So for example, the difference is minute. If you look at two people, you don't want to see, I can hold my structure this way, this way, this way, and so forth. And you'll be like, well, they look pretty much the same. But without the right position in place, when the force comes in, it will take a while before it actually ricochets back. So in other words, you remember how I said that the force comes instantly. So if here's your stance and here's your arm, once this force comes in think of it going in 3 sections: arm, body, and then legs. Okay, so it's going 1, 2, 3, and then it technically ricochets back up. It's almost like imagine like you squeeze a balloon. If I squeeze the balloon reacts. If I let go, the balloon reacts as well. So the first thing we're talking about is here. I have to know exactly how to align, whether it's Tan Bong Fook, to connect to my body. Just because I'm here touching doesn't mean it's actually connected to my body. Look, if I move my elbow a little bit here, he pushes towards me. Look, it looks like I'm holding. It really does. But I can tell you he already affected my center of gravity. All right, so the alignment as far as how to connect it to the body is very key. Just because it's here in a certain position, here, or close, does not mean you're connected to the body. Assume that you know how to do the alignment correctly, all right? I know how to do the alignment correctly. When I know how to do the alignment correctly, and he pushes in, you could say, once this pushes into it, it connects or locks into my body. That's what I want to do. Because without that lock-in procedure, as far as connecting to it, all the stance, even if you have it perfect, will not come into play. It won't. It'll be there, but it's like having the skill but not being able to use it. All right? So, assuming this is right, the alignment is right, and it connects to my body, then what happens from this? When the force comes in, imagine it running through here and it gets into my body. When the body comes into place, guess what? That vertical position that I'm holding in place now kicks in. It has to adjust. Just kind of like how you have a tower, right? You have any kind of building like a Sears tower. You put the Sears tower in place. The structure itself isn't fixated. When the wind hits it, there's actually movement that goes along with the structure as well. So there actually has to be a flow within the body itself. And that flow, to understand it, is, if you remember how I put specific detail that I'm keeping myself vertical upon here, okay? In other words, here, I'm vertical right now without any force at all. But once the force kicks in, if I try to maintain that vertical, guess what? I'll tip over. Okay? So hard to see because I think I'm only shooting up from this point on. When he's here, I'm keeping my vertical in position. If he pushes towards me, I try to maintain that vertical, you won't be able to hold it. That's like the Sears Tower staying in place, the wind hits it and it's trying to stay vertical and there's no give in that place. So what actually happens is, once this is connected, this vertical position, you could say changes into like a C formation. The C formation, okay? Now, is it a C formation where I look like Quasimodo? No, it's not, okay? If you look at it here, it's only a minor change. When he pushes in here, I'll exaggerate, this is me vertical. When he pushes in here, look at my body, it just changes a little. I create a C. I'm not leaning back like this. I keep my vertex here from the top, and then it actually curves in just a little to maintain that formation. Why? Because I have to let that force come through it. If I hold it vertical like this, that means if my body knows how to align it, yeah, it's aligning it, but I'm not taking in the force. I actually have to let the force come in, okay? So that's the adjustment that the body has. It goes from this vertical motion. Once it feels a force, it changes it in order to maintain that vertical position in a C-shaped formation. Okay? Now, from the body, it goes down to the knees to the ground. Now, the common mistake that happens when that force comes in, this is connected, so that's good. All of a sudden my body adjusts, that's good. But if my center of gravity is not exactly between the heel and the ball of the foot, let's say the force flows through here and then flows through here to the L4, L5 region, but I'm not dead center where I should be, I'll feel it in my heel. Right? So that flow doesn't work properly. What I should feel is when this connects from the arm to the body, then you'll feel it go into the knee, then to the ground. That's the flow that you're looking at when you're doing this. But if you feel it from the arm to the body, and then you're slightly leaning back, you'll feel it to the back of the heel. That's what you're going to get. Okay? So that's key. Understand that flow process from the arm. Just because the arm's touching does not mean it's connected. You actually have to know how to align it to connect to the body. Then from the body, how does the body function? It can't stay vertical with the force. It has to adjust to that force in order to stay center from that. Okay? Like if I put this water on top right here, and then I try to push it, without this adjusting to it, it won't be able to deal with that force. It actually has to adjust. Okay? And then second, once I get to the body, I have to use the stance. The stance has to come in place. It should kick into the knees, then to the ground. If you feel at the back of the heel right away, after the L4, L5 kicks in, then you're off. All right. Is that too much? It's probably too much. It's all right. We'll talk about more season 2 and 3. All right. But then that's just the understanding of the overall flow. Okay. Now, all this that you're doing, think of it passively. In other words, my job is to make sure everything is in position. All right? But when the force kicks in, when he starts pushing into it, I don't go like this. See how I'm starting to make my adjustments and try to deal with it? It's kind of like the balloon. When the balloon is properly inflated and I press against the balloon reacts naturally. It just does it without any thought or planning involved, right? If you're planning, right? If you're planning, that's off. It doesn't work like that. In other words, I'm thinking to myself, okay, Robert's pushing, so I'm going to start adjusting my stance and then moving it back and forth. You can mentally think that in the very beginning just to get through the process, but in reality, if you try to apply it, that won't work. Your job is basically, think of it like dominoes, right? I have the dominoes laid in place. When the force hits the first domino, my main job was to make sure everything's in line so everything one after another can connect and knock itself down. But if my job is off and if I miss it, then this won't connect and then you're in trouble. You have to make another adjustment then. Then you're slightly off. All right? Notice when he pushes towards me, I don't know when he's going to push. I just hold my balloon in place. When he pushes towards me, I automatically react from that. I'm automatically reacting from that. Why? Because I did what? Had the right tension. I had the right alignment. I didn't have to fidget once the force came in and go, okay, I need to move my arm a little. I have to adjust my butt a little. I have to tuck in a little here and there. Proper tension, proper alignment, proper positioning, it does it automatically. Okay? Damn, I'm talking all about a lot. Screw it. Either you got it or you don't. All right, let's see. We did positioning, body, structure, passively. Okay, now, what else? Anything you want me to toss in that you think can help them out for beginner level?
This all just went over my head too.
Really? That went over your head? You should know this. All right. All right, we got positioning, body, structure, passively. Okay. Let's talk some other stuff too. When you're doing the chesaw, okay, a lot of times when you're rolling with the chesaw, let's talk about one more thing. We'll talk about the targeting. All right, targeting wise, we'll end it at targeting because maybe everything I said will just go over your head, but it's all right. If you have a question, just email me. Targeting. Targeting at beginner level is simple. Targeting right now at the beginner level is simply say, have my hand aimed at his structure. That's as simple as that. So in other words, if he punches, right, he punches here. Targeting means if I have jumps out here, right, look at my target. Imagine this is my gun, I'm not aimed at him. Yeah, I blocked him. I blocked him at this point, but why is this no good? Because a good block does several things. If he punches me, I block it. One, I don't get hit. But two, a good block is aimed at the target. Because in the beginning stages of development, you have to learn how to block to attack. You know, a lot of people say, well, why are you blocking? Why can't you just attack him right away? Because you don't develop that line by just attacking right away. You gotta learn to block first to attack. Okay, what does that mean? He punches towards me, I block him. There's my target. So that's stage one of development. That's off. Proper development is if he punches me, I block him, look, I'm aimed right at him right away. That means here's my gun for the block. So right now it's jump saw. But in the later stages, if I understand it correctly, he punches me, my punch is actually my block at the same time. But in order for me to develop that, I have to know the target point. Everything I do, whether it's a block, an attack, is based off target point. Okay? So for example, let's say he palms. If he palms me and I jet. What's wrong with this jet? I blocked him, right? Problem with jet doing this is what? The intent of the jet is going down. That's my target point. I'm not aiming here. Right? Jet properly done. If I jet, I'm here, still aimed at him. That means the intent's still forward, not going down. All right? Or he punches towards me. I do bong. You see a lot of bong like this. Bong, you know why this works? You see a lot of people evade the matrix style bong. This works because this guy doesn't know how to shoot at the target. That's the only reason that works. Right? Think about that. He punches towards me. He doesn't know how to aim at the target. So that's why he's always just going along with the force. But if this guy actually, for example, I punch and Robert sways off to the side. That's because I don't know how to target. But if I'm here, I dead on here, boom, I'm aiming for his center, I'll hit him. All right, think about that. So right now, the beginning stages of targeting, knowing exactly what you're looking for, is just look for hand position right now. That's the basic steps that you're looking for. But you'll be so surprised at how common it is that we're here, we're moving around here, going around, and I'm doing certain motions here. How far people go offline to do their attacks. They'll go from here, jet down here, or he punches, I'll view off here to the side. There's no target at that point. So it looks simple to say hand merely at his center or targeting at him, but it's actually more difficult than not. Why is it more difficult? Because when you have a point of contact, people tend to go to that point of contact, right? So in other words, I feel his futsal right here. He's pushing at me. So instead of targeting directly into his center line, I want to push off here. Or if I feel Tanzao here, instead of targeting directly at him, I want to push off here. It's natural. It's like if I tap Robert in the shoulder, he's naturally going to turn back. So in the beginning stages of actually working on this motion, when he's in this position, I feel a little tension towards that. I want to push off to the side. But in reality, what am I doing? I hold this from what? From positioning. Cover self, aim at target. Even if he's pushing into me, what am I doing? I'm aimed here at him, my forearm aimed into the center, And what? I'm making sure this is in my center line to protect myself. And it's really, really freaking hard in the very beginning not to push off. You want to do it. It's like dogs that are hungry and they just want to eat. They feel, all of a sudden they smell this, they feel this force, they want to go off to the side. It's a number one issue that most people have with chisawing. All right, shoot, that's long. Okay, I didn't even cover everything I want to cover. All right, part 3. We might go 3 and 4, we'll see. But hopefully this gives you a little bit of idea of the process. I know this may be a little bit more over your head, but just get the general concept of it. And part 3 coming up soon.